Welcome to the Select Board's meeting, Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. Please join the board in a pledge to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Canty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This meeting of the Plymouth Select Board is taking place in a hybrid format. Members of the board are joining us here in person at the Great Hall in Town Hall. Members of the public are joining us in person, as well as some may join us virtually over the Zoom webinar platform. This hybrid format is as a result of changes made to the open meeting law by the legislature of the Commonwealth. Members of the public that wish to participate or attend the meeting may join us here at Town Hall. They may join us over Zoom on the Zoom link that is attached on the agenda that is posted on the town website, or they may watch us on Comcast Channel 9 or Verizon Channel 47.
Thank you, Mr. Canty. First order of business will be a public hearing for the aquaculture license. Mr. Hunter.
Good evening. Thank you for the introduction. So we have a couple of aquaculture hearings, one for George Caldwell and one for Connor Doyle. I do have just 3 slides, if I could bring those up. Just to give you an idea of the location, because some of these maps are quite zoomed in, and most people, if you give them rattle-off coordinates, they probably couldn't tell you where it was. So this is a Google Earth image. You have Sakewish, Gurnet, and Clark's Island here. Gurnet, Sakewish. Both of these sites are within that dotted area, that bubble, just so you can kind of get an idea of where we're talking about. The first one, this is George Caldwell's map that was in your packets. Both of these have already been here previously for public hearings. In George Caldwell's case, he had the yellow were his existing aquaculture sites. Then he had an additional hearing to expand, and that's the red area in between the 2 yellow pieces. But when he came last time for his public hearing, he had some area out here that he included. During the site survey with DMF, they found eelgrass, so they cut back his proposed area or expansion, and they offered an alternative, this red area kind of down the side. So because that wasn't included in his original public hearing, we had to come back to have another public hearing. So these probably do look familiar to you, but just slight edits or changes that required us to come back. The next one, Connor Doyle, similar in the sense that he was here, I think it was February 21st, 23, for a public hearing for this site, which is new to him. And during the site survey, he was looking for a 4-acre parcel. During the site survey, they found out that that was about 3.3 acres. So he's looking tonight to expand all the way out to 4 acres, which includes this little piece here. That was not included in the original public hearing, so we're here tonight for that approval. So recommend approval on both of these applications, and Connor Doyle is here if you have any questions for him.
Any questions from either of the applicants? Seeing none, wish of the board.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bletzer, second by Mr. Helm. Discussion? All those in favor? I want me to read it. Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Canty?
Yes.
Mr. Helm?
Yes.
And Mr. Bletzer?
I vote yes.
And myself, yes, unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Moving on next to the licenses and administrative notes. There's also a change of offices for the Christopher Colombo Club and 3 administrative notes. Any questions or the wish of the board?
If there are no questions, Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion that we approve the licenses, change of officers, change of manager, and 3 administrative notes as a group.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Canty, second by Mr. Helm. Discussion? Seeing none. Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Canty?
Yes.
Mr. Helm?
Yes.
Mr. Blitzer?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Unanimous. Thank you. Next up on the agenda is the July 4th committee update. Mr. Tavares?
Good evening, everyone. Happy 4th of July. I'm sure it feels like it's sped right along since the last time I was up here before you. I just want to do a very quick, brief update for you compared to when we normally kind of come in and show the layout of the land and whatnot. But just to let you know, the July 4th committee has been busy for a number of months now. We're about 10 weeks away from the holiday, which is on a Thursday this year. I know people always ask me that. And we are going to be going through pretty much the same traditions that we've had over the last number of years. The first being the 4th of July 5K. That's going to start at 7:30 a.m. We do have a slight difference to that this year with Stevens Field being closed. We used to start and finish from there. So we'll actually be starting and finishing from the reviewing stand down near the rock, which actually should be a nice backdrop for finisher photos with the large flag hopefully hanging down there. After that, we will have the parade kickoff at 9 a.m. from Cordage Park, just like it did last year. It's going to head down the same exact route as we've had before and come down Court Street and then turn onto Water Street and finish right in front of the rock as well. Throughout the day, we'll have food trucks in the DCR park as usual. And then at 7:30, the Plymouth Philharmonic will begin their traditional concert. And then fireworks being, dusk 9:15, fog or no fog, hopefully. But what I really wanted to come here and kind of make sure it gets out there to people is that they can go to our website, july4plymouth.com. We've had a number of people already start to sign up, which is great to see because usually we get a huge influx like the third week in June, but we've got a lot of people being proactive this year, a lot of returning floats and some bands that were on trailers and stuff. We had a lot more music last year than we have in years past by local acts and local bands, so that was fantastic to see. We have also opened up our donations. We opened that up, on July 5th of last year, but we're pushing a lot harder this year. We have a few other ideas for during the parade for some collections as well. We are looking to raise, in total, $126,000 to put on the 4th of July this year. We've received very significant donations from the Visitors Services Board, the Plymouth Growth and Development Corporation, the Town Manager's Office. We appreciate that as well, along with a number of businesses in town. We have a handful of individual donations. I know it's hard out there for a lot of our families in town, so we really appreciate how much the business community has stepped up to help the 4th of July. They are our largest group of donors that we receive. So to date, we're at $64,550. So we have a little less than halfway to go. I like to think that we'll get there. We always seem to, but it really is a community effort to help us get there. And I appreciate everyone's work in helping us fundraise and to help get the checks in, whether it's 25 cents or like the VSB 30,000, we take it all because every bit of it goes directly to the parade, public safety, and the fireworks. So we're looking forward to having a great holiday. Hopefully, we have much better weather this year. I'd be remiss to say that I forgot to mention the theme for this year's parade is "You're a Grand Old Flag." So, and floats are open to anyone in the community to put together and bring into the 4th of July parade. This is a hometown parade. It's put on by hometown people, and it's an all-volunteer effort that pushes this parade through. So if you want to see something in the parade and you feel like you haven't seen it before, go right ahead and put it together, and we'll welcome it. But unless there's any other questions, that's all I really have.
Question? Matt, I just have one question. What if Stevens Field is ready? Isn't it supposed to be ready by July?
I think that logistically, because of what we're doing with the police department as far as public safety and everything,
Too far ahead.
we had to set the permits into place for the 5K route, and that is going to be, so now we're kind of on that route right now.
Well, I hope it's ready anyway, but
Yeah, I do too.
I know the effort that goes into what you do. It's a year-round job, and, it's kind of a thankless job a little bit, but I appreciate everything you do for the town. It's really, really important for the citizens, the businesses, the tourism. It's a great event, so thank you so much for your efforts.
Absolutely.
And
We
your
do
whole
get a lot of
committee, too.
people from
I know you
out
got
of town.
You got a big committee too, I'm sure, so thank you.
And actually, if you don't mind, I was hoping they'd show up here, but I did find out today that we're getting a large donation from the Jeff Cohen Foundation. So if you wouldn't mind, I would like to have Jeff come up, and I think he has or someone from the foundation to come on up and show us the large check, hopefully.
Come on, Jeff, you're not shy, so.
I mean, it's a good check. I wouldn't call it a wicked. I mean, every little bit helps, right?
Yeah. But Jeff has been a big supporter of the 4th of July. His organization has put in 6 floats, 5?
Usually 6.
Yeah, about 5 or 6 floats into the parade, which really makes it. I know he challenges other businesses to put in more floats each year, and actually I've seen a few businesses step up this year that I haven't seen before, already signed up, so you got challenges coming at you, Jeff, so you got.
Yeah,
so.
I think Viscarello's might be coming on this year too, and I always look forward to my 1,000 bananas from Quintal's Produce. Thank you very much. But so I talk about the parade. So, I don't know. The parade needed more fun stuff because it's all about kids. So we needed really fun stuff for the kids. So we just overachieved everything, and we just threw in some crazy floats, Legos and Moana and superheroes. Like imagine Batman in a $2,000 cosplay costume handing your son or daughter a comic book. I mean, it's just the coolest stuff ever. The smiles that we see going through that parade, priceless, absolutely priceless. The stuff that we pass out, each float has its own designated toys, like the Hot Wheels floats pass out over 1,000 Matchbox cars plus candy. The Moana float, bananas, Hawaiian Lays, candy. Disney princesses passed out all kinds of tiaras. Harry Potter passed out magic wands. What am I missing? I'm missing something big. Chelsea, what else do we do that's really cool? Legos, yeah, Lego sets. And, I love Amazon. I go on Amazon, I look for Lego sets, and it's amazing what you can buy for like $5 a pop. So we have hundreds of Lego sets going on the parade, and it's super fun. And luckily, my business gives me the ability to do that. My foundation just runs on donations, and we'll do events where we'll raise money. But luckily, my painting company, we build all the floats. The foundation doesn't pay for anything, so it's actually cool.
And Jeff's foundation has been good to us, and I know they had an event down at the Hotel 1620, a Vegas night, where they were raising funds for several organizations in town, and he called me up and said, "Hey, we got a check for you." So I really appreciate Jeff.
I didn't announce who I was giving the money to because about 3 weeks prior I was going to come out of my pocket due to the event because I hadn't done tickets quick enough. But leading up to the event, we did $3,000 to Thanksgiving, $3,000 to July 4th, $1,000 to firefighters. I think almost $3,000 to somebody going through chemotherapy. We got $751 to breast cancer. $1,000 going to Gary Mass's Dream Ride. So it actually worked out really good. We raised a ton of money in the back end of the event. So I was pretty happy.
Well, thank you very much,
my
Jeff.
pleasure.
We'll
Thank
do
you.
it. We'll do a little picture out there, or you want to do it next? Come on up. I'm going to monopolize all their time. They have a light agenda
You
tonight.
got a lot of
Right?
stuff going on? Like, what else is going on tonight? You good?
Okay,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I say something?
Anybody want to come up?
Yeah. Jeff,
Yes.
well, no, go ahead, Chelsea, go ahead. Take the picture.
Thank you very much.
First of all, we know who really does all the work. right there, Chelsea. Jeff, I got one question for you. How do you find time to paint with all these things you do?
I don't sleep.
And I know you're a big kid, so,
I just work. I drive down the road, I'm thinking of parade floats, I'm thinking of crazy stuff for work, and I don't stop.
Well-
You know, I'll have an epiphany at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'll type it down so I remember when I wake up.
well, good for you. Thank you again for the town, from the town.
Thank you so
My
much.
pleasure. My pleasure.
Matt, earlier when you were talking, I heard you mention July 5th, so I had to pull out my calendar because I didn't have my bearings. So we know that the 4th of July is on a Thursday, so when you reference the 5th, is that just the backup date for, or was that a...
I don't know that I referenced
Maybe I
the
heard you wrong.
5th.
Okay, so
No,
is there a rain night for the fireworks?
not as of this moment. We're discussing that because it has a lot to do with public safety and what we can do. So,
Okay.
but we do have, that meeting is coming up 2 weeks, May 2nd. I'm not sure. Is that 2 weeks from now, a week from now?
Because I think last year, wasn't there a little bit of distress and consternation over the fireworks?
Yeah, we weren't able to have a rain date for them. And, you know, I could talk about last year all day long because I wish I went to school to be a meteorologist, but I can tell you right now that there wasn't a single meteorologist that called the amount of fog to roll in so quickly and so fast. So, hopefully this year, I don't know if I'm going to see if I can get a Captain John to go out a few miles and let us know if something's coming in, and maybe we'll shoot him off earlier. But if we do have, I'll come before the board, maybe, once or twice before the 4th of July, and hopefully by the next time I come before the board, we'll have that ironed out for you.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Canty?
So Matt, thanks for the update, and I know that as Mr. Mahoney referenced, there was some consternation last year about how the fireworks unfolded. But obviously, that's not your fault. You guys do a tremendous job of organizing. You don't control the weather. So I think a lot of that criticism is ill-founded. We know something about getting criticism that is undeserved, so we can certainly be sympathetic to that. But we certainly respect and understand what you're doing, and I think you deserve accolades and not criticism for things that are beyond your control.
And it's the entire committee. There are 5 of us, and they all work very hard. A number of them were traveling this week, so they weren't able to be here. But it does take all 5 of us to get this done for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you, Matt.
Just echo with everyone else, Matt. Thank you and all the volunteers, and you can count on the month of May charity pizzas for your 4th of July.
Oh, fantastic. I guess I'll be ordering a few more pizzas than I normally do. All right.
Thank you. And we do have a weatherman in the audience, Mr. Malaguti.
Oh, okay.
Going
Well,
to school, just in case.
about time. Yeah, well, give me a holler this year, will you, if you see anything coming?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. No place for hate appointments. We have 5 full vacancies, and we have 2 applicants. Are both the applicants here? And you are? If you just please come up to the microphone and make sure the green light's on, please.
Good evening, Christina Bryant.
And which term are you interested in? Is it 1-year term, 2-year terms?
2.
2? Okay. Well, she said 2 already, Harry, so, yeah. But thank you. Okay, any questions for Christina? Mr. Canty?
Yes. Would you like to explain why you're interested in serving on the No Place for Hate Committee, or give us any, and we have your application materials in your packet, but obviously other people in the community don't have our packet. So anything you'd like to talk about why you're interested and what you think you would bring to the No Place for Hate Committee?
Sure. So I have lived in the town of Plymouth for over 20 years, raising 5 children here, my husband and myself. We grew up in the city, very diverse space, but it's very different here. And one of the things that drew me to No Place for Hate is there's so many different perspectives where people are trying to solve for the challenges of the lack thereof diversity or the understanding. My line of work, I'm a former DEI consultant, so naturally aligned to the work that I do professionally, plus personally, I'm a diverse person in this community. So I think there's a lot of value for myself to bring to the table, but also for the committee to continue to build and move forward with the way that they're thinking about approaching the next 2-3 terms from now. It's been a very rewarding experience meeting with so many different people that I wouldn't have been exposed to otherwise joining the committee. So sorry, I wasn't prepared to speak this evening.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you. I think you did a good job.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ms. Bryant, how you doing?
Good,
So
how are
you
you?
come down in 2009 from Dorchester? You moved here in 2009, if I'm reading that right.
No, sorry, 2003?
Okay, 2003. So, what, no, it says 2009, so, anyway. This community, we're trying to become a welcoming, diverse community, and it's something that we pride ourselves on that. Since you've been here, have you seen an increase in more diversity in this town than when you first got here? And my next question, while we're doing that, do you see hate or prejudices here? And if you do, how much? There's a lot.
Yeah, I appreciate that question.
Okay.
So first, I would say, coming to Plymouth, we first lived in Cedarville. Cedarville, extremely white. My children were the diversity within the South school system. Moving to North, there's a lot of diversity. I was pleasantly surprised. I, as a parent, naively just expected the same experience no matter where my child went to school in Plymouth, but that was not the case. In regards to your second question, where hate is concerned, because I would say of my professional role, I'm a little more attuned to some of the different websites or postings that may happen around Plymouth, and there has been quite a bit. Do I think that a lot of the things are coming from a place of ill intent? Not always, but the end result is the end result. And I myself, or the people that these offenses are committed towards, they are pretty hateful and bigoted. But I do believe as long as the community continues to support the efforts of being welcoming and diverse and the efforts of no place for hate, we will be able to move the needle in the right direction.
So myself, I came from the city too. I came from Brighton, which is probably a little whiter than Dorchester, but we had a lot of diversity there too. But coming down here, I've been pleasantly surprised. I don't see the things that I saw in the city for both sides, black, white. It didn't, there was a lot of that. But down here, we're trying to pride ourselves in, and this No Place for Hate is a very important committee. We have 13, something I found out the other day, we have 13 different languages in our school system, which is amazing. And I think that's pretty diverse right there. But so you'll be, I saw your resume, your background, you'll be a welcome addition to this committee. And I can tell you, I know if I can speak for the town manager, the select board, that we don't tolerate that stuff. And again, you would see it more. I'm a white person, so I wouldn't see it the way you do. But something I don't want to tolerate. So.
I appreciate that, and I would just like to also comment that I appreciate Dr. Campbell, the school committee with their appointment of Brianna Hattab, their diversity consultant for Plymouth Public Schools, because I feel like, from again my perspective and lived experience, they are looking to make a difference as well. So it's
Yeah.
wonderful.
And the last thing is social media. There's so much ignorance on social media that I wouldn't even, I don't even really read it, and if I do see something, I just disregard it.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, we don't even know who's speaking. It's anonymous, it's cowardice, but that ignorance, and we don't even know where they're coming from. But anyway, thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, comments? Thank you. Is Sarah Engel here? She's a student, I believe, right? Okay. So, we'll bring this back to the board. We have Christina Bryant would like the 2-year seat, and maybe the 1-year seat for the student?
That would be my suggestion, Mr. Chairman, given the status as a student, that 1 year she could always reapply if she's still available and interested, but otherwise. If that's, I would make a motion to vote as a slate, Christina Bryant for one of the 2-year terms, and Sarah Engel for the 1-year term.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Canty, second by Mr. Mahoney. Discussion. Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Canty?
Yes.
Mr. Helm?
Yes.
Mr. Blitzer?
I vote yes.
And myself, yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we re-advertise for the other 3 seats, I believe. Okay. Moving on to the special municipal employee designations. Kate McKay, General Counsel for the Town of Plymouth. Welcome, Ms. McKay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. I believe there is a policy in your packet along with a memo. This is the special municipal employee policy that was drafted over the last month or so. I can just give you an overview if that would suffice.
Absolutely.
So the policy starts with the purpose, which I think encompasses all of the things that were discussed at the last meeting addressing special municipal employees. But then when it comes to the actual policy, it outlines the process and the information that the board would follow when somebody is seeking special municipal employee designation. Within that information that is sought, it accounts for occasions when the board may find somebody who has professional knowledge or professional skills that would be helpful for the town, which would account for the benefit to the town that the town would receive by granting that designation. It clarifies that that designation would be to a classification or a position or a board or a committee, not to the individual person, in case there's any confusion regarding how that would work. The policy also provides fairly clear guidance on how to rescind that classification if the board wanted to rescind that. And at the end of the policy, it provides for the annual review by the board of the classifications that are issued, and it provides for notification to both the town clerk, who would maintain that list, and to state ethics, where the list would also be forwarded. So I think it hits many of the things that were discussed and many of the issues that have arisen. I'm happy to take any questions on it, if anybody has any.
Mr. Helm?
First, how does this deal with the 60-something people we already have on the list?
If I remember correctly, I thought that was rescinded at the last.
Was it
Did
rescinded
we-
at the last? No, I think that all we did was just
Just the moderator position.
just the moderator position.
Right.
So we still got 60-something people hanging out
Right.
all over the place.
So the intent of tonight's discussion, and if the board so chooses, would be to vote the policy first. And then we planned on coming back at a future date to list out all of the different designations that have been previously made. In fact, we're already speaking to professional staff from the planning board, school committee, redevelopment authority, because they all have received those designations. So the first thing we're trying to ascertain is whether or not they still need those designations, so then we can come back to the board and say, these certain committees are still seeking the designation. These other designations that have been previously made, we recommend that they be withdrawn.
So in other words, in terms of self-dealing, we are going to go to the committees and enable them to say we want to continue to self-deal.
Well, I mean, they certainly can ask to receive that designation, but like we have with this policy, there'd be an application process, and then those committees have to come before this board and outline why they think they deserve this designation.
Why do you think we can't just rescind all of those ancient things and let them come back?
We certainly could do that if the board so chooses
Why are we
to.
going out to people to ask them if they want to continue this policy of self-dealing? Why can't we just rescind them? And if they want to, this policy, which I don't particularly agree with because it's pretty much saying we're okay at times with this continuation of self-dealing. But I think it makes the most sense. Rescind all the old ones, and then if they want them, they can come back and make their case.
That certainly would be one course of action.
So, all right, okay.
So you have two courses of action. You could follow the pathway you just outlined, Mr. Helm, or follow the pathway that I outlined, that you vote the policy first, and then we can bring back to the board a set of recommendations.
So
Whatever
but
the board
you would
chooses.
recommend before we deal with that question, deal with the proposed policy first?
At the last conversation, we were instructed by the board to draft a policy. And here we are.
Okay.
Mr. Blitzer?
Yeah, I mean, how come we rescind if we don't have a policy? So I think we need to set the policy first before we can talk about rescinding. No disrespect, Terry, but,
No, that's what I'm suggesting.
so, but we have to vote the policy and then take some action after that. So,
Any oth-
I like the idea of setting the policy, and then you can come back with recommendations to us on how you want us to handle it, so.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Canty?
Kate, would a sentence reading that was placed at the end, reading, any position, committee, or board previously granted special municipal employee status that does not resubmit a request to renew their special municipal employee status by June 30th shall lose that status effective July 1st. Would that, in your opinion, assuage some of Harry's concerns, Mr. Helm's concerns?
Would ultimately defer to Mr. Helm for him to say whether or not that would, but I think it would certainly clarify for anybody who currently holds those designations that they need to make the request and get ready, or it's automatically going to be rescinded, but it would at least give them some notice instead of taking it with no notice because they may not be aware.
And that would also, just for clarity, that would also handle any pre-existing, it would automatically clear up the backlog of special municipal employees in the system right now by no later than July 1st, unless they resubmit, consistent with the policy we are about to vote in.
Yes.
If that were to be added.
I would agree with that statement.
Mr. Helm, does my inclusion of that particular phrasing assuade any of your concerns?
To a certain extent it does, but it certainly is not the kind of statement that I think this board needs to make to the residents of Plymouth, who have for years accused our town boards, committees, elected official of basically self-dealing, and that list of people was really, in my mind, a very serious indictment of the processes in this town, and I guess it does. You all will deal with the outcome of it, but I don't think that it's much of a statement that we're committed to, cleaning the past and moving forward in a new manner.
Any other questions from the board? Comments? The wish of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we approve the policy as written, with the addition, though, of a sentence at the end of the last, at the end of the phrase above the bolded questions. The last sentence as written in the document says the board shall review and act upon the request in accordance with this policy at its first meeting in July. We would add a sentence that reads, any position, committee, or board previously granted special municipal employee status that does not resubmit a request to renew their special municipal employee status by June 30th shall lose that status effective July 1st.
I'd like to second that motion.
Discussion? Ms. McKay, you okay with that?
Yes.
Passes muster? Okay. Mr. Mahoney? Yes. Mr. Canty?
Yes.
Mr. Helm?
No.
Mr. Blitzer?
I vote yes.
And myself, yes. 4 in favor, 1 in opposition. Mr. Helm? Thank you. I just want to take a second and say that it's really nice having you on board, at Town Hall. It really is. For years, we've talked about it, and we've always, had to go back and forth with it. But I must say, now that it's been a little while, and I've actually interacted myself and had the opportunity to ask the questions, and I know I'm sure it's the same in the whole building and around town, but it's a nice job, and I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Okay. That's a good answer. Okay, moving right along. Plymouth Cemetery, Route 80. I just want to say for the record that I represent the board. I sit on the cemetery committee for the board, and this was brought up back a few years ago. I know Mr. Tavares was the chairman then. We were on the other side, so I don't know, 4 years ago, 5, I don't know. But also Everett Malaguti sits on the same committee, and if I've missed anyone in the audience, forgive me, but it's been a road. We really need it, so I'm glad to see what Diane's going to say tonight.
Sure, thank you. It has been a journey. Good evening, Diane McGuire, Cemetery and Crematory Superintendent. I'm here along with DPW Director Bill Coyle and Ray Dunez, who is the architect for the Route 80 Cemetery project. Before Ray starts the PowerPoint presentation, I wanted to update you all on the current available cemetery space. Now, this is space that is owned by the town of Plymouth. This isn't there are 2 private cemeteries in the town. So, as you know, 2 years ago, we put through a moratorium which only allows the purchase of 1 or 2 graves when there's been a death. While this has not been ideal, it has made a significant difference in the amount of lots sold, going from approximately 150 graves sold a year to about 50. So as of right now, the count I did this week, we have 40 niche wall spaces in Chiltonville, which can hold 2 urns each, approximately 50 cremate-only lots in Manomet, 10 lots in Cedarville, and 140 in Vine Hills, bringing the total to just under 250 graves. This should be sufficient based on 50 graves per year for about 4 years. But this has to mean that we keep the moratorium in place. So Ray's going to give you the presentation on Route 80, and then we'll be right here if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. We have the slideshow. I'm Ray Dunitz with Ray Dunitz Landscape Architecture. I've been involved with this project for, I think, 6 years now. Okay.
They're going to switch the feed. Yeah.
IT's taking care of it. Mr.
There it is. So, in 2019, we prepared a master plan for this site on Route 80 across the street from the Parting Ways Cemetery. We've been through several cemetery superintendents since then. This all started out with Ted Bubbins back in the day. We looked at the site It's a 37-acre site with an easement with a total of 44 acres, I believe. There's a vernal pool within the easement to the lower left. And the idea was always that we would phase this project as needs arose. So we did a phasing plan, identified a first phase, and looked at the site, how it might develop over time. Just wanted to talk about the land transfer. This land was transferred to the cemetery department in 1971. Here we have from Springtown meeting of 1971 that the town transferred to the cemetery department the parcel of town-owned land located on the southerly side of Plimpton Road, containing approximately 44 acres. And so this has always been dedicated for cemetery use. It hasn't been until the last decade that we've really started to discover that we're running out of space in town, and we need to start thinking about this. Just to give you some context, the location of the vernal pool, the Parting Way Cemetery, and what was recently discovered as the Prince Goodwin Homestead. He was a freed slave, Revolutionary War soldier, and I'll talk a little bit about the archaeological discoveries that we made. To keep you up to date, we have surveyed the entire property with our wetlands delineations and property topography. That the survey goes on and on and on, so I just want to give you a highlight of that. And we've also thought a little bit about permitting for this site. We're working with PAL, Public Archaeological Laboratory, to do our archaeological work. We are going to have to permit this with Mass Historic Commission. We initially did a sort of overall overreaching archaeological survey of the whole 40 acres. We did submit that to MHC, and the town, working with Diane and Bill, we were given the option to maintain a certain buffer around the Prince Goodwin Homestead site, or actually go in and do a more detailed level archaeological survey around there, which we decided to pursue. We had money in our budget to do that. And we've also done a preliminary review with MIPA. They really didn't have much issue with, didn't take much issue with what we were planning. They did mention that any road needs to be less than a quarter of a mile, which is about 1,320 feet. Bill has some thoughts on that as well, but I'll let him talk about that. We will have to, we're not within any Conservation Commission buffers for the work that we're doing, but we'd like to keep them in the loop on what we're doing. The Board of Health and Mass DOT are two permits that will, all the three last permits will be, as the plans further develop, will go in front of those boards. This is just an image of the Prince Goodwin Homestead site on the survey. These lines with squares in them represent investigation areas that PAL looked at, and then you can see that depression is the foundation of the house. They've also recovered archaeological artifacts, which have been kept under lock and key. You can see there is a paper road there called Wood Road, which the house must have been labeled off of. So our goals, we've talked a lot about what we're looking to do here. Diane has suggested our first phase provide a 20-year development period, which is equivalent to about 1,500 full-body burials, 1,500 cremations, and we we determined that that area would be 3 acres. We don't want to develop the whole 40-acre site. This will just be the first phase. Another part of our study is to talk about or start to think about a feasibility study for a new office building and a maintenance garage for the cemetery workers on this site. We're not going to be implementing that during the phase 1 process, but we are having the architect look at the spatial needs. We've met with Diane and Bill and talked about what their space requirements are. We've talked to Diane filled out a survey of all the equipment that the cemetery workers use. Currently, they store all of it out at the DPW building, which is pretty far away. So it'd be nice to bring it into the cemetery. They have access to it, which this will be the future most used cemetery spot in town. We've started to think a little bit about how to lay this out in the first phase. We've conceived a one-way circulation road through the site that's under 1320 feet. It's a 20-foot wide road, which allows for a car and someone to pull off to the side. So you would enter at that on the upper left. We're thinking there would be a very nice fence along Route 80, something respectful and cemetery-like. And then as you enter, the building would be located close to that entrance because of all of the utilities that we'll need to get electricity, water. We'll probably need a septic area here. And parking enough for the employees and visitors. One of the elements of the design, which we're really excited about, is to actually interpret this historic site with the Prince Goodwin homestead with interpretive signage. We're going to fence that area off, but folks from town can pull in, read about this guy, and also visit the cemetery. One of the elements of the future building that we've spoken about was to have a conference room in there that would also have exhibits and displays about Prince Goodwin. The rest of the cemetery, the totals I can't totally see because of the light, but it's around the 1,500 in-ground burials, 1,500 cremains, 3 acres, and the road length is under that quarter of a mile. So you can see the burials in dark green are single depth in-ground burials. The sort of tannish color are areas for cremains, and this is subject to change. We have a veteran section, columbarium, a flagpole. And then to the left, that green area within that over there is for collecting stormwater runoff from the paving. You can see also there's a little road that goes back behind the building. That's for our maintenance workers. There was a strong desire to have the office building and the maintenance building connected. So we're looking at those options. The building would have a porte cochere similar to Vine Hills, where folks can get out if we have inclement weather. And lastly, we have a vegetative buffer along the cemetery for the abutters to the east. So our timeline for this project, this year we'll be doing the design and permitting. We'll have a cost estimate for the phase 1 for the 2025 town meeting. We're looking to start construction when those funds become available and hoping to open the cemetery in 2027. And I believe that ends the presentation. If we can answer any questions. That'd be great. Yeah, sure.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Blitzer?
I just have
Mr.
one quick
Canty?
question. You said we have 4 years of burials, and this is a 3-year plan, so hopefully it's going to go on schedule, because we're cutting it, looks like we're cutting it pretty close.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, this plan is, I've worked here for 19 years, so it's been that long that parting ways has been spoken of in Route 80. So we've investigated other areas, and to the former superintendents, we were unable to find a space that made sense. So we kept coming back to this, and it can happen. We're very careful with how we're handling the space we have. You know, it's been keeping me up at night. Is there a plan B? Not really.
Right.
Yeah. It needs to move along. I mean, I was encouraged by the archaeological report a lot. There was, yes, that homestead was there, but that was really all that was found. Everything else was very small. And, you know, there's a lot of space here. This is a cemetery that can last for 100 years. It may be even 50 years from now, they decide that, you know, the next generations may do something entirely different. I mean, the cremation rates have risen from, when I was a child, they were about 10%, and they're going up 2% a year, and last year they were at 52%. So a lot of my calls are, you know, can we scatter our remains? And that's one thing that we want to put in here, scattering well, where families can come and they're commingled with other people in a space, and maybe we'll have bricks that they can put their name on. That certainly is space saver. You know, I don't see cremation dropping, so that saves some space. If I looked, you know, if I was able to look back on this land 50 years from now when I'm gone, I think that the next generation will keep some of it conserved. I hope that there's some walking paths included, and we certainly want to honor the parting ways people significantly.
Well, I'm just worried that in the next couple of years, if it really increases and we run out of space and people can't bury the loved ones in the town they grew up.
The Mass General Law says that we have to provide burial space for our residents. It doesn't say that we have to provide them for 60,000 residents. So we have to provide for the immediate need. We're not the only town that's facing this by any means. So there are two other private cemeteries in town. I mean, there's St. Joseph's, and then there is Plymouth County. So there is other space.
Yeah, but in the meantime, let's go, right?
In the meantime, we have to move.
This going. Okay.
Yeah, so we're all on board with this. The Cemetery Commission's been great.
Second question I have for you, all these artifacts that have been discovered and recovered, what do you do with the artifacts?
I actually asked...
Because who's paying for the study and all that stuff?
That was part of the planning. So that was that was
So I was
included.
wondering, can the artifacts go to a museum or in town?
Can we ask for them back?
Or can we sell them?
I think so. Right now, they're in a safe somewhere.
Yeah, they're cataloged.
But it'd be nice at the museum.
Absolutely. So our hope is to have a workable...
I was kidding about selling it.
Right. So our hope is to... the building isn't in the first phase. You know, maybe 3 years from now, we'll say, okay, it's time. And we hope to put in a conference room that can be usable by the public as well. And we hope to have some of these artifacts incorporated. And have perhaps local artisans do a sculpture and some pictures representing the story.
Right, so you're thinking about it already. Good, that's great.
We are absolutely thinking about that.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Mr. Canty?
So this may come across as a criticism, but I don't mean it as a criticism of you, but is the archaeological evidence, is that why this was transferred in spring town meeting of 1971 and we're just acting on it now, or what? That's a significant delay. That's like 53 years.
So no one ever did, they did surveys of the land, but they never, no one ever did an archaeological survey of the land, a digging of the land, test pits and such. That was never done. This is the first one that I'm aware of. I mean, I've seen different things in the old files.
Wasn't there one that...
Did they actually dig?
But they didn't find...
But they didn't find anything.
They didn't find anything.
Yeah. So this is the first time that anything has been
So
found.
was there any particular reason why we sat on this for 53 years before we turned it into a cemetery?
Well, I was
After
in
it
elementary school.
I understand that. I didn't think it was, that's why I didn't mean it as a criticism of you.
Right, so
I mean,
I
a
wish
lot of,
I
even the
could-
town meeting members that voted on this aren't around anymore, a lot of them, unfortunately.
Right. So they voted on it as cemetery space. My guess is that it wasn't needed because there was plenty of space in Vine Hill still.
Okay.
So it just was kind of there, and it was always cemetery space.
Yep.
But no one ever started to design it. I mean, there's been people who've been
Okay.
interested in it, and, you know.
Okay. Well, do we have any other potential cemetery sites around town that we haven't done anything with yet?
No.
Okay, that's good. Hopefully, we don't have any other sites designated for other potential municipal uses that have been sitting there for half a century or
Right. There
more.
is
But
some, I will add, there is a little space in Cedarville Cemetery. We are going to look at
Okay.
opening a little bit up there.
So I know you mentioned this is phase one,
Mm-hmm.
and you mentioned that this cemetery could last, a longer period
Mm-hmm.
of time, up to 100 years, depending on cultural. I think the idea of burying yourself in a 6x3 plot for the remainder of the existence of the earth is a strange practice.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a practice that a lot of people enjoy. So to each their own, I suppose. But I think it's something, given the number of people we have in the community, that's going to have to reach a tipping point. Obviously, a large portion of Plymouth is 55 and over, and we know how those stories end. So, we don't need all the details as to what's going to be the next stages, but do you have any projections for this is going to put us out about 20 years, you think? But what could you any previews about what you think the capacity is?
So what I think will happen is I think that this will last 20 years.
Okay.
If the projections from the Cremation Association of North America are correct, the cremation rate is raising 2% a year. So that's going to do nothing but increase.
Right.
As people the next generation seem to be, my sons included, seem to be thinking differently of death in the
Yep.
culture of it. So
Right.
this could last a lot longer. What do I think they'll do next? I think that this will give you a lot of options, scattering, cremations. We're going to do veteran sections with flat markers. So this is sort of everything that people are looking for right now. I would suspect that in 5 years, whoever's here will say, okay, we're 50% full, we're okay for now. And then they can say, all right, we're going to open phase 2.
Okay.
Do I think, that it's going to return to traditional burials? I really don't.
Okay.
I think that seems to be cremations. There's different forms of cremation that are coming into play that I won't get
Sure.
into with you. Some of them are a little graphic, but there's different things that are going on in the industry.
Okay. And is this design that these roads would connect to future phases, or would they be separate entrances, or you don't know at this point?
No, this will be the only entrance.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit of a departure from the master plan that we did 5 years ago.
Uh-huh.
But you can see there's a whole series of roads
Right.
Okay.
through the entire.
So is that at 100% build out, or is that partial?
Yeah.
That's 100% build out?
That's the whole site.
Okay.
It's changed as we discovered the homestead and. Yeah, I was just going to say that this was done 5 years ago without the knowledge of the archaeology, and the needs have changed, and the numbers
Sure.
have changed, and the superintendents have changed. So
Sure. But that's a rough outline of what
Correct.
it would look like. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. And again, I understand you weren't in charge of this 53 years ago, but
Fine.
it is odd.
I feel like
that-
I've been here forever, but
Right.
yeah.
It is odd that it's been sitting around for a while, and now we have 4 years until we're running out of room.
It's
But
been waiting for
we're
us.
moving forward. All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Mr. Helm?
Just a question regarding the timeline that you created, the last slide. There we go. So we're 2024, and you're dealing with design and permitting, correct? You're going to go to the 2025 town meeting, spring town meeting?
Yes.
Okay. because you're going to be asking for money.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any concept of what, just, not to hold you to it later, but do you have any concept of how much you're going to be asking for? And will it include the maintenance buildings, the other?
The building will not be included in Springtown meeting this
Okay.
year. It's not necessary. So there will be the cost will be for land clearing, installing the roads.
Okay.
And we do not have a cost for that yet.
Okay.
I expect we can give you an update.
Well, actually, my main question was really, is your proposal going to town meeting next spring going to include the buildings?
It will not
Because
include.
that's where the most cost is going to be.
I do not think
Okay.
it's necessary to open the building yet, no.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
John?
I think my colleagues covered all the questions, Diane, but great presentation and long overdue.
Sure, thank you.
Great
right.
presentation. I know quite a bit about it, but I just hope going forward that you mentioned buffer, that it's substantial buffer, because, the days of taking all the trees down, even inside the cemetery. I'm no designer, but I know just from our own personal family, and when we visit, having some trees is nice,
Right, we
So-
want to make it so that it's a functional cemetery, but we
Right.
also would like to make it beautiful. So
Absolutely.
That's
Well
what
said.
that's what our goal is.
And congratulations, Mr. McGuire, on
Thank you.
being appointed superintendent, and I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Okay. Claremont Properties, friendly, in parentheses, 40B, LIP application. What's that? Oh, there he is. There he is.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, my name is Bill Lovett. I'm with the Claremont Companies, the rest of the board. We are a family-owned real estate development company based in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. We own and operate about 3,000 residential apartments in Massachusetts, have a 55-plus year track record of development in Massachusetts. We also own a number of hotels, and we are excited to be back in Plymouth to discuss the local initiative program, Friendly 40B possibility. So if I may, I would love to give just a brief overview of kind of the history of the project and where we are today. So I'm going to skip through that. So just as a refresher, the property is that we're discussing this evening is in Colony Place. It's in the across the street from the new Hanover Colony Place development and adjacent to the Sawyer's Reach 55 and older condo community.
Where's Sawyer's Reach on that map?
Sawyer's Reach, is there a pointer on this by chance? Wow. Oh, fantastic. This is Sawyer's Reach. This is Hanover's development. This was an initial concept that we'll touch base on in a moment. And then this is the area for the proposed property.
And the original concept was how many units? Just for the people watching.
Certainly. So if I may, I'll skip to that slide. So the original concept was in total approximately 348 units conceived. There was a special permit issued for, oops, I hit the wrong button. Not to give it all away. The initial project had been approved by a special permit for 198 55 and older units.
That structure pictured on the right.
Correct. Yes, this structure here. I'll just step back for one moment. So the original lot configuration included Lot 9, which has now been renamed 2640, and then the basin is on Lot 2641. We had conceived in a subdivision into lots 5A, which was the 198-unit project, 5B, and then a reconfiguration of Lot 5C to consolidate the basin. What we are looking at now is the friendly 40B, and I can get into the details of the logistics of a friendly 40B. The concept now is to do one project, one phase, 300 units in a property. Oh, sorry, I keep hitting the wrong one. On the original 9-acre parcel that Claremont had acquired about a little over 2 years ago. This concept does not affect the existing basin. That basin receives water from will receive the water and from the proposed project, should it be granted, as well as called the north side of Colony Place. This is an overview and just a different angle of the project and property. You can see the car dealership on the right to the east, Sawyer's Reach to the left, and those shadowed buildings.
And at the upper end of that screen is the town of Kingston, correct?
Correct, yes. Effectively, where you see this tree line is the edge of the property, and the Kingston starts right in that area. In fact, if I go back to this slide, actually, or even this slide. So Kingston, this is the Kingston property line. We are not proposing, this is the town line. Our property line goes beyond that. We are not proposing to go in or disturb anything in Kingston.
So the basin that you refer to, that section of land you referred to, the basin, that's strategically set aside for overflow, or is there some sort of like rain garden there or something like that, or?
This basin was designed originally when the project all of Colony Place was conceived. I'm not going to give you an exact qualification. However, the surface water from the roads and these properties primarily drains into that basin. That basin has been there, like I said, since I believe it was 2000, the early 2000s, when Colony Place was originally conceived. And it's been in existence since that point in time.
And who owns that?
That's owned by the association, and it's controlled by Claremont. So with this is a very preliminary elevation, but we used and utilized some of the same colors and aesthetics that we had worked with the planning board on previously. Again, there's a lot more development to be done on this, but we did want to portray, at least a concept level of the drawings here. So with regard to the friendly 40B discussion, if friendly 40B, and I'm happy to explain it at a very high level to the board if that's of interest. So a friendly 40B, or the local initiative program, is different in many ways from a traditional 40B. The primary way, and the reason for the meeting tonight, is the select board in this instance has the ability to endorse this project prior to it going to the state for approval for what's called a site eligibility letter. A traditional 40B, the developer would approach the state, say that we would like to do a 40B project on this property, and then the town would be notified that there's a 40B, there'd be a site walk, and then there would be a site eligibility letter issued to the developer of the town, and then it would go to the Zoning Board of Appeals for approval. In this instance, or what we're requesting in this instance, is that the select board endorse the project. That letter of endorsement would go then to the state along with our application for the project. And then it still goes through the same ZBA process after it gets approval from the state. What we are proposing with regard to this project is and the reason for we had discussions and an agreement with the town relative to a water booster pump, which would enhance the water. That is what we would like to continue to advocate for in this proposal in conjunction with the endorsement from the town.
Okay, before we go any farther, I would like either Lee or yourself or the town manager or all three to explain to the community how we gone from Plan A to Plan B and why we're here. Because, as you all know, all us five are going to get blamed for it. So, that being set aside, I'm good with that, but I just want people to understand, as citizens, of how and why we're here, because that's very important.
So I guess I'll start that conversation and
Please.
ask Mr. Harmon to fill in the details. So, as we all know, Claremont Development came before the planning board a number of years ago. They received a special permit, Mr. Hartman. Was a special permit from the planning board?
It would be, there were three things they needed, was a special permit from the Zoning Board of Appeals, which they received, subdivision modifications for the drainage area to reconfigure the drainage area from the planning board, which they received, and then a negative determination about the drainage area being a wetland, which they received. So, and all three of those were appealed by an abutter.
And that was how many units, Lee?
So again, the initial proposal was in the 200 range. Just a little under 200, right? One for the first phase. For the first phase, but as part of
What was the total?
second phase going to be in the old?
200, another two.
Approximately an additional 150.
Yeah. So 350 total, more or less.
And we're looking at
300 here. The difference is the 350 proposed were all residents 55 and older, 2-bedroom units. This will be no age restriction and a combination of 1, 2, and 3-bedroom units as required by the 40B. So fewer units, but potentially, more people.
And so I just want to remind folks, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman,
please.
This, as Mr. Hammond outlined, this project was approved. Claremont was notified in the summer of '22 that we had a problem with moving water into West Plymouth, and it wasn't a Claremont problem, it was a town of Plymouth problem. We then entered into negotiations with Claremont to help the town move water into the West Plymouth Water District. That was a development agreement that was approved and discussed on 2 different occasions in this room in an open session. That project entailed the waiving of building fees, but in return, the town would receive a fully constructed booster station paid in full by Claremont Development. We predicted at the time that if we had to go to town meeting, in which we would have gone to town meeting to build that booster station, it would have cost either our taxpayers or our water ratepayers approximately $4.5 million. So although we waived $1.5 million in building fees, we were able to receive a $4.5 million booster station through that development agreement. And so why are we here today? As Mr. Hammond pointed out, there were a number of abutters who filed appeals. And I think I'll leave it up to Mr. Levitt to describe it. I believe it's now Claremont's in their best interest to move away from that original approval and go towards a 40B project. Is that fair to say?
Yes, I mean, if it's contingent upon the approval of an alternative project, yes.
Questions or comments from the board? Mr. Canty, then Mr. Mahoney, then Mr. Helm.
So, just so I and everyone else is clear, you're looking for us to support the project. If we didn't support the project, though, your group could still go forward with a traditional 40B through the traditional process, and whatever that would look like, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And my understanding, I'm a lawyer, but I'm not that type of lawyer, is that the rate of success of communities fighting 40Bs is quite low, correct?
Correct. And I think I would point out, I think the difference here between a friendly 40B in this case and a regular 40B is that if we went through this process, and let's just say we don't do this as a friendly 40B,
Right.
and go through in what we call a hostile process, they'll make their proposal, the
Right.
zoning board will approve it. Let's say that as part of that, the zoning board requires this booster station to happen. The state could rule that that makes the project financially infeasible and strike that condition because it's financially infeasible.
Right.
I'm not really confident to say that if we push the issue that they would back us up and say you can't do this project because of the water issue.
Right.
Traditionally, what I've always heard is, shame on you, town, you didn't plan properly. That's your problem, not the developers. So I think the difference here is we could try to still negotiate the same things we're talking about here, but doing it friendly means we'd have a binding MOU that
Right.
they would commit to.
Right, so and otherwise, if we flew too close to the sun, our wings might melt, right?
We could end up with the project without the booster statements.
Right. So this is an opportunity for the community is going to have a project here, whether we like it or not, but we could get something out of it, guaranteed.
There are no guarantees, but that is my professional
Right.
opinion. One way or another, this project will move forward.
Okay, so then, in terms of what you're looking for from us, so you're looking for us to vote in approval of this, you'd get the letter of support, and we would get the booster station, right? That's your intention, is to build the booster station?
Yes, at a high level, that's absolutely right. There would be, it was as referenced before, an MOU, a memo of understanding, which would be finalized,
Sure.
outlining the details of that. But yes, our intention would be to build a booster station.
Are you looking for anything else from us other than a vote of support?
Yes, the MOU is obviously a critical component to that.
My understanding, I was not on the board at the time, but my understanding was that the prior agreement was about waiving some fees. Is that still part of the equation here or not?
Yes, it's waiving of fees. It is waiving of fees, the building permit application fees, and there is also something in 40B called a safe harbor, which we would ask as part of the MOU that not be, that if other 40B projects were approved or in line, that safe harbor would not be exercised on this project, even if other projects came in. And I think those are the primary points.
So, okay. Is the fees that are being waived, how do they compare to the prior agreement to waive fees? Are we waiving the same fees? Are we waiving fewer fees? Are we waiving more fees?
They are similar. The biggest difference is in the last project, there was an affordable housing component buyout of approximately $1 million. That is not applicable because this project would have 25% affordable housing within the 300 units. So 75 units within the 300 would be affordable at 80% of AEMI. The town gets credit for all 300 units from an SHI standpoint, but that fee is not there. The fee is roughly, and based on our calculations, approximately 1.7 million, 1.75 million of the 2.5 million pump station.
Okay, so what are the What's the total amount of fees that we were going to waive before, and what's the total amount of fees that we're waiving as presented right now?
Bear with me for one moment. Previously, it was about 2.5 million combined between the two lots.
Sorry,
It was
2.5?
2.5 between both lots 5A and lot 5B. So the 198 unit project and the conceptual 150 units. Now it would be about 1.7 million.
That we're waiving.
Correct. The biggest delta being the affordable housing component.
I just want to say that those numbers that we might be listening to and looking at are old, and they might have to be updated, if you will. Some might even have to change slightly. I'm not saying they're going to, but I just don't want to commit this board to certain numbers until the town manager brings it back with us and staff, that's where we need to be. That's all. I'm just, the prices of everything probably gone up, and
Certainly.
you
And
know,
then
I'm just
these
not
are-
comfortable with that, so.
And just to be clear, those are Claremont's
Okay.
calculations
That's
of
fine.
what those numbers should be.
Right. No, I just think I knew that was a part of the old agreement, and I think it's important that we clarify, you know, to the best of our knowledge and capability at this time, right, what it is at this time. Okay?
And just to add a little bit of color to that, it also includes, like, we're not paying a water connection fee as we're, like, supplying the water. That would be part of that number as well.
Of that 1.7?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mahoney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So,
There's two things tonight that I have no intention of doing, and it's voting on this tonight and getting up on my 40B soapbox, because too many people have heard where I am on that. What's your first name?
Bill.
Bill. So, Bill, I think we need a lot of data, a lot more data, especially from the Director of Planning. Obviously, we want that data to be accurate and factual. So one of the benefits, quote unquote, of this, of entering into a friendly, is that this would provide us with safe harbor in order to say no for a certain amount of time to other things that came around the bend. So I think it's dependent on the board to get the updated information, Mr. Hartman, as to how many units are in the community, how many are designated towards our affordable housing inventory for the 40B law. Is there only one version of safe harbor, or are there different levels?
So there's two different levels. So one would give you 1 year, and again, so it's based on 0.5% of your need for affordable housing. And so I think 1 year is like 150 units, and 2 years is 240 units.
Because
or
that's
somewhere in that
surpassing like 1 or 2%.
Yeah, so this will get, this would get us a 2-year one. And if I could, I would just point out for tonight, and correct me if I'm wrong, we're looking for you to say, yes, this is something that we'd like you to pursue. There's a lot of work we have to do before we come back to say, yes, we want you to vote safe harbor, vote friendly 40B. Tonight, we really just want you to hear to say, yes, we're inclined to do this, or no, we're not.
Yeah, so I'm inclined to give you the town manager and others the authority to move forward and, hash out some of these numbers. And, for me, obviously, it's safe harbor, where are we with respect to all of that data? And then it's water, water, water. And, what are the trade-offs there between Bill and his group and this community? The pros and cons of both sides, and how we're getting to that. And then if and when we cross that bridge and arrive at that destination, obviously, in the interest of openness and transparency, whatever we get to the point we're going to vote on something, it needs to go up here and be clearly delineated so that the public is in the loop on that.
is that John?
Yes.
Mr. Helm, then Mr. Blitzer?
So when you come back to us for an actual vote of approval for this letter, okay, which is not what we're voting on tonight, okay, but when you come back to us, will we also be able to examine a proposed MOU?
No, we would definitely be bringing forward as final of an MOU as possible, expecting some modifications that evening.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Blitzer?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Lovett, thank you for your presentation. I just want to give some facts as I know them about this project, and correct me if I'm wrong. This was a 55-plus rental complex, correct?
The original complex
Original,
was...
yes. And I was in favor of this because there is not a 55-plus rental. I think the closest one is in Hyannis, I believe, rental apartment complex. So I thought it was something much needed for Plymouth. So then when you came before us, your project was appealed after we worked out a deal to get that water booster, which was going to save the taxpayers close to $5 million. And that project was worked out with us and the zoning board, and we had an agreement. And then it was appealed by Attorney McSheehan appealed it. And we had her before us here, and I asked our attorney at that time if this was a frivolous appeal, and we were told that it was. At that time, she came before us and was a little upset. So after the meeting, I went over in this room, in that corner over there, and these are facts. This is what I asked her. Are you representing these? First of all, there was I believe there was 8 abutters at that time in this appeal that were doing it. And I asked her, are you pro se? Are you representing these folks? Yes, I am. And I said, I made the comment to her that I figured, because I don't think these folks would spend the money to appeal it. And what she said to me, and I won't forget this, was, yes, they would. These people bought $750,000 condos, and they were told that land was conservation land, and it wasn't going to be built on. And I said, who told them that? It was their developer, Thorndike. Those are her exact words. And I said, well, why aren't you suing Thorndike? Why are you going after this group who's going to save us money with this water booster? So now she appealed it, and now I'm glad you didn't walk away, because we would have lost it. It would cost the taxpayers $5 million. So now you're coming up with this project, and I'm kind of upset that you had to go this way, because I liked the 55-plus rental. I thought it was a great concept. But I understand what you have to do, and I'm in favor of moving forward with this. It's going to help us with safe harbor with these affordable units. So I'm in favor of letting you do a friendly 40B. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have a couple of questions for Mr. Hartman. Hi, Lee.
Good evening.
Just to clarify, if you could, on the safe harbor, with this number of units, does that put us in the, it will, without any others?
Right.
Okay, so in other words, if another one comes like next week or the week after?
So what happens is, once you issue the permit, you can go and apply immediately, and we did last time with the projects we had. So once the ZBA issues a permit, then the next day we file with the state requesting safe harbor.
Okay.
That's when the 2 years would hit. There is a scenario where they could be in the middle of their permitting, and this happened last time where we were in the final throes of the Oasis, and before the ZBA issued their determination, the walk was filed. Or was it the other way around? No, yeah, it was that way. And the walk was filed. And so we ended up with both of those projects because the walk came in before we issued the zoning permit, the special permit, or the 40B permit from the ZBA. So there is a scenario where we could have 2 or 3 come in, and it's only when the first one gets approved that safe harbor starts.
All right, so that's why I'm asking the question I'm asking. So what do you recommend to give us the
The sooner, if this is a project.
The fastest route, Lee, I guess.
Yeah,
Let's
the-
get
the-
right to it.
The sooner, if we're in agreement, and again, I don't want to speak for this board, the
Right.
zoning board, or anyone else, but the sooner the community's in agreement to say this is the way to go, the sooner we have this project approved, the better position we'll be in for the next 2 years for future projects.
I guess this question's for staff and yourself. Hold on, everybody, it's my turn for a second. How long do you think you'll need to put together an MOU, or whatever it is that Lee needs and a vote from this board to move forward? Because we're going to get the Pulte one, that's down the street, the All Knife property, that's coming. And very soon, and that's why I'm asking all the questions I'm asking. Or is it something that we could vote and approve and do the MOU? How does that work? What I'm trying to ask you.
No, we definitely would want to bring back to the board the proposed MOU. And I just confirmed with Lee, we think we need at least 4 weeks to get an MOU in place.
Okay, and then if you just strategically plan your hearings, Lee, and how busy that you
Well,
are,
then
you
the
could
next
just
step-
hold new applications
Right, well,
off.
The next
right?
step is they have to file with the state and get the state approval, and then come in.
Right, okay.
And I'm not sure where they are with the development of their plans.
Okay, so the public and understands, and town meeting members and whoever else might be watching, the thing when we get to a safe harbor, it's going to give us a 2-year breather where we won't have these projects coming at the town. And it's my hope that if we do approve an MOU, that we can finish up the master plan, get a plan in place, and then move forward. And that's really the only real reason that I'm going to support this, is for those 2 main reasons. It gives us a window, we can plan our community and move forward, because without it, we're just going to keep having these come forward. It's nothing personal against you. It's really not. I'm just trying to explain to the people that elect us what we're trying to accomplish now, and we really don't have a whole lot of choice in this. Mr. Helm.
So Lee, should this project be permitted before Pulte in North Plymouth, does that prevent Pulte from doing a 40B on us?
So it
And
would-
vice versa?
Yeah. So again, what Claremont is asking for is if Pulte comes in, let's say they come in next week and the ZBA issues that permit, as part of the agreement to do the booster pump station, they would like you to say, we will not invoke safe harbor as part of that agreement if Pulte gets approved first.
So does Pulte have any plans to do the same thing? They have to be aware of Claremont.
No. That would be up to you to agree to. You don't have to do that.
Well, no. We don't have to agree to this either.
Right.
So we have a choice. So I guess my question is, we're talking about a race to the finish line here. And do we have any idea if Pulte crosses that finish line first? Are they going to have a similar statement in their MOU that Claremont has that says we can't stop them?
The only MOU we'd have is one that we would agree to as a town. So let's just say hypothetically, Pulte comes in with an agreement that this board feels is advantageous versus just telling them it's a hostile 40B. So if Pulte comes in just like Claremont has tonight and said, here are the things we want to do for you, and we're willing to do it if you sign on as a friendly 40B.
Does Pulte have to come in front of this board?
For a friendly 40B, yes.
For a friendly, but is Pulte proposing a friendly 40B? Okay. Thank you.
I just, if I could, the Pulte developer themselves, as you know, they have already attended the steering committee meeting in North Plymouth, for example. They have already met with myself and Mr. Hammond on multiple occasions. Based upon what Mr. Hammond pointed out for a timeline, to me, it seems like they're both running parallel to each other, and I don't see how one could get approved without the other one filing. You know what I mean? So I feel like they will both be filing at the same time. Therefore, in my opinion, I don't see how any one of them is going to beat the other to the finish line. So therefore, I would imagine that we would have 2 40Bs that may get approved through this board, and that we would get safe harbor for 2 years.
As opposed to one is approved first, and we go into safe harbor for 2 years, and then Pulte would just have to wait for 2 years.
So just
Right.
like when we dealt with the Oasis on the walk, they watch very carefully. And the week before, the ZBA issued the permit on the Oasis, the walk filed, and we were not able to do that. So I think that's, as Derek points out, it's going to be the scenario that they'll both be in the pipeline before either one of them gets approved, that they will be filing one way or another. It's the 40B law, and it's stacked against the communities, and that's the way it always has been.
These are two very active conversations that are taking place.
40B in Maryland.
Mr. Bletzer?
I just want to be very clear about this particular project and what I know about it. We had a private developer come to us with a private-public agreement to fix a problem that the town has with water in the North Plymouth and West Plymouth area. We had an agreement. And because of 8 abutters that were approached by an environmental lawyer, this project was appealed. It was a delay tactic to get them to go away. In the end, there was only one abutter, and I think they might have been here tonight and left, but there was only one abutter, a couple, that were against this project. And because of that, we almost lost a $5 million water booster. And now these folks who have spent millions, I believe, on this so far on this project, have come back to us with this friendly 40B. And I like the project how it was before, but I understand what they're doing. So I'm ready to do whatever I can to help them move forward with this project and to help the town with this water booster pump that we desperately need. So whatever we can do to help them, I'm for it. So.
Mr. Canty?
So it occurs to me, and that I think obviously the fees and the booster pump, that's money, or what substitutes is money, right? I think time is also money on both sides here. Time is money for Claremont. Time is money for the town as well. I know the issue was raised, you want in your MOU that if we're in safe harbor, you still get to go forward. Pulte's probably going to want a similar thing in theirs. So I guess part of when I started asking my questions earlier was about sort of the inevitability of this happening in the community, right? But if we were in safe harbor for other reasons, it wouldn't be as inevitable. It would still come eventually, but it wouldn't come at the time. So we wouldn't be getting in the scenario where Pulte comes back and we get 4 years of safe harbor with 2 projects. We're only going to get potentially 2 years of safe harbor despite 2 projects. So I would just encourage, I have the proposed number with the fees here. Since time is money, you're getting some time on your end by getting the letter of support potentially, which makes things easier for you. We're getting the booster station, that's good for us. We would get into safe harbor, but we'd lose sort of the double up safe harbor. If you could do anything more on the fees in results that you're looking to have waived, and be willing to pay more of those fees in recognition of the fact that it's not as inevitable as it was at the time that it was originally proposed. I know the fees are a little lower for some other reason because it changed the subject of the project itself. But I would just encourage that to be part of the conversation about these fees, because that's money. Money's money, time's money, booster stations are money. I don't think you want to build us a second booster station, and I don't even know that would help that much. But paying more of the fees might make it more palatable to not just the 5 members in this room, but the 60,000 people watching from their homes, minus the 7 or 8 that are already here. So just something to think about for when you come back, but thank you.
Any other comments from the board? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Levitt. Thank you,
very much.
Mr. Hartman.
Do we need a motion at this time? No vote?
No.
Okay.
No? Thank you. Anyone wishing to speak under public comment? Anybody online? No? Okay, town managers report.
Sure, just a few items for this evening. As of today, the Master Planning Committee kicked off the master planning process with Stantec. So as a reminder, this is going to be a 2-year process. The first year will focus on public outreach, gathering information and data from our community to help inform the master planning process. So again, just to let folks know that the project is started as of today. As an update to the Hedges Pond cabin demolition, those 4 cabins have been removed. They have been safely removed, and we were able to dispose of them locally, so we'll be returning some money back to CPC, who funded that demo project. The downtown traffic study, just as an announcement. So as you know, town meeting approved a study for the downtown area. There will be a community meeting this Thursday at 6 p.m. at 11 Lincoln Street. I know that most of the members, Precinct 3, will be involved, but this is gaining a lot of interest around the community. So just as a announcement to those folks, again, this Thursday at 6 p.m. at 11 Lincoln Street, and the Mayflower Room will be an update on the downtown traffic study. I just wanted to let the board know that we are wrapping up the West Plymouth Fire Station project. They will be removing the trailer from the West Plymouth Fire Station over to the Manmid Fire Station within the next week or so. Once that takes place, the firefighters will be using that as their base of operations. There'll be a second one brought on as well, because we also run EMS out of that station. We're expecting that project to be completed in October. So again, that's the Manamint project. We're expecting to be completed in October. That's going well. As you know, the West Plymouth Fire Station has been completed for some time now. We're just waiting for them to complete the landscaping, and we are planning for a June ribbon cutting ceremony over at West Plymouth Fire Station. And then, as another announcement, the Plymouth Public Schools are having their annual health and safety fair this Saturday will begin at 10 a.m. at North High School. So again, 10 a.m. at North High School, the health and safety fair will take place by the school department. And then just as another update, last Saturday we had a very successful hazardous waste day over on Camelot Drive. We had over 250 vehicles who attended a hazardous waste day. So that was very successful. And then just to kind of let the board know, so today we had our annual summer preparedness meeting, where annually we convene all the pertinent departments, fire, police, DPW, who were present to talk about preparations for this summer. So putting our beaches together, getting the barrels out, getting the trailer on Taylor Ave out for the bathrooms, getting the floats out in the harbor. That's taken place this week, amongst many other things. So we are well underway preparing for a very busy tourism season. The departments are tracking everything that they need to do, and will be on time this year. And then last, I just want to mention, many folks may have heard about a fire that took place in South Plymouth today. It was approximately 30 acres of land that was burnt. The fire department had to call in state officials from Department of Fire Services, local mutual aid. They had to use the state police helicopter to help locate, the tract of the fire. But I talked to the fire chief late this afternoon. The fire has been contained. There has been no damage to any homes. We had one small injury. That person's been transferred to the hospital and has been since discharged. So great job by our firefighters and those fire departments that provided mutual aid. Pending any questions, that's all I have this evening.
Mr. Blitzer?
Derek, when you had the meeting with Precinct 3, can you, well, Mr. Coyle's in the room too, I know you know about this, but the town green, there's some issues down there with the walkways and the shape of that. I know it's on, I believe it's, you have a plan for that?
It was, so the walkway you're referring to, I think, is heaved in some areas. It definitely needs to be replaced. We know that. It's on our capital plan. I believe it's planned for either next year or the following year, but it's definitely, we do know about it, but we're only able to fund $10 million of capital this
No,
year.
I got it, but maybe you can address it when you have that group there, because I talked to, they're very concerned about it, just the looks of it.
If there's something we can do as a patch to prevent injury, we certainly can do
Some
that.
liability issues from what I mean. I
Sure.
actually, they sent me pictures, I'll send them to you.
Sure, happy to do that.
Maybe if you're down that area, you can take a look at that. So they are concerned about it. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for Mr. Brindisi? Okay, we're going to move along to new business. And if I may, Derek, what town meeting article number was the DeVeo?
The Meg Ryko affordable housing was 16B.
16B, Harry's
That's right.
saying. And I just want to clarify for the record that the number of units that was spoken to town meeting, I believe, was incorrect. So if you could help me out here, tell us our options, and I'm going to bring it back to the board.
Sure. So Article 16B was presented as a CPC article at the annual town meeting, as you all know. At the presentation, both verbally and in writing, a statement was made that the town would receive 40 units that would count towards its affordable housing inventory, although the request was approximately $900,000 to build 6 units by the Meg Ryko Development Corporation. It has since come to our attention that the town will only gain 6 units from that project. I mean, there's 6 units the town is paying for. Meg Ryko has paid for additional 4 other units. So in total, there'll be 10 units of affordable housing, but the town is paying for 6 of those units. So when this was brought to our attention, we did some research. Actually, town council and Mr. Hartman and I had a meeting, and we all agreed that given the presentation, and I would say the misrepresentation of the number of units, and the dialogue back and forth between town meeting members around how many units were going to count towards the affordable housing inventory, and what was the return on investment by our taxpayers, we, the 3 of us, believe that it's probably in the best interests of transparency to not implement that article as of yet, and work with CPC over the coming months and ask them to bring this article back in October for reconsideration.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Mr. Helm?
First of all,
Then Mr. Mahoney.
your suggestion on delaying implementation, how do we go about doing that? Do we need to vote on that?
So, as you know, town meeting appropriates funds. It's up to the administration to then go ahead and implement the will of those articles. In this situation, I think we can not implement it based upon our rationale. And I know that in the past, especially COPC, they've been concerned about the administration's slowness in implementing some of these articles. But I think, given what we've uncovered, this would be the most appropriate course of action.
Well, I would agree with you on that. It was clear at town meeting that there is a heightened sense of need for affordable housing, but also what are we getting for what we pay for? And this representation, the difference between 6 units and 40 units, is egregious. And so I would agree with you doing what you need to do. But I would also like to oppose, this is not the only incident of misrepresentation, misinformation coming from the chairman of the CPC. And I would like to put on next week's agenda a discussion that the chairman attend our meeting and we have a discussion about what is going on with him and the CPC, ending in a possible vote to have him removed from the CPC.
Well, Mr. Mahoney was next, and then Mr. Canty, and then Mr. Bledsoe.
So I'm the Select Board designee to the Community Preservation Committee, and when the initial vote went down on this article, the number that the committee was voting on was 6. So somehow, post-vote, another 34 showed up. And that was only in the last couple of weeks before town meeting. I'm going to go into greater detail Thursday night at the next CPC meeting. Obviously, we all know that there was an increased emphasis on affordable housing articles. There was 3 of them. All 3 votes were flawed. They were all flawed. If you look at the industrial park vote, the majority, if not all of the committee, was under the impression when they were voting that we were getting credit for 26 units. After the vote, it turned into 0. And if you look at the 80 Makepeace vote, the initial vote was 4-2 to 1. After that vote, to their credit, 80 Makepeace, led by Mr. Gorsuka, read the room. They changed the location of the project. That is a significant variable. They changed the positioning of the building on the new lot. They addressed parking issues. They increased the amount of affordable units from 52 to 62, and they incrementally increased the commitment they made to the community for their overall affordable units, I believe, from 103 to 113. Is that correct, Mr. Hartman? 5, the committee never voted on that version. And if you watched town meeting, the affordable housing representative, Mr. Russ Shirley, who used to be a town meeting member but no longer is, he was allowed to get up to the podium and speak in the middle of town meeting and said, initially I didn't support this as it was, but now I do. So all 3 of those votes were flawed, and it's very distressing to me, and I will certainly be addressing this Thursday night.
Mr. Canty?
So I think, if I heard Mr. Helm correctly, he would be suggesting that we do something that we'd need to do in executive session to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health rather than professional competence of an individual, or to discuss the discipline or dismissal of or complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual. The individual to be discussed in such executive session shall be notified in writing by the public body at least 48 hours prior to the proposed executive session, provided, however, that notification may be waived upon written agreement of the parties. And I believe, obviously I'm pulling this up on the fly, but I believe the individual that's subject to such a hearing has the right to ask that it happen in open versus executive. But I think if Mr. Helm's request were to be acted on, I think that's how we would have to act upon it. I don't know if next week would be enough time to do. It's ambitious, but maybe. I know we're meeting on the 30th, and we're not planning to meet on the 7th as of now, but those are just things that I think we'd have to consider in going forward if we are going to pursue that line.
Thank you, Mr. Canty. Mr. Bledsoe?
And I agree with Kevin on that. He has the right to do open or executive, but I think what we should do, I mean, this is the second accusation now against the chairman of the CPC. The first one was a procurement violation. That is an ethics violation, and this is another, I believe, an ethics violation. This is 2 now accusations that I know of, and something has to be done. But I recommend the town manager, we have him do an investigation. Mr. Brindisi, have him do an investigation on this and come back to us. Is that something you can do in a week, or?
Well, I think as you pointed out, we do know that as of now that there were two serious, I would say, violations. The procurement one, as you just pointed out, which Mr. Cohen did admit to, and then this most recent one. So we certainly could pull together evidence that would affirm those two. If there are other items out there, we would need more time to do more research. I just don't know what else is out there that when you talk about an investigation. Beyond those two, it would take longer to see if there's anything else that you're referring.
And he has a right to have a hearing with representation too, and he should have that. But, transparency is a word I hear all the time, and that's a very important committee. There's a lot of money involved there, and we have to really look into this and take the necessary steps so that this does not happen again. So, Mr. Chairman, whatever your recommendation is, I'll adhere to you.
Mr. Hall?
Regardless of the mechanics, and I think Mr. Canty has pointed out the actual mechanics correctly, regardless of those mechanics, I don't see a need to wait longer than next week. And I think that it should be, whether it's an executive or, and up to Mr. Cohen if it's public, that we deal with this as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and I would say that if we were to have an executive session next Tuesday evening, the chair of CPC would be afforded the right to attend that executive session and have representation as well. So I just want you to know that's part of that clause under executive session.
Will of the board?
So because this is new business, I would encourage you not to vote because it wasn't listed. However, I certainly can work with the chairman over the course of this week and to determine whether or not he wants to place this on executive session.
And I do think a week might be ambitious for some of that determination. I know we were not planning on meeting on the 7th, but that means we have some availability, despite that means us taking another night of our lives away from other things. But just so that we're giving the other party the opportunity to respond appropriately, we don't want to be accused of moving too quickly just to adhere to a schedule. I just think maybe if we can do it next week, great. But if we get pushback on doing it next week, maybe that's not the hill we die on. Just something to think about.
Mr. Chairman, I couldn't agree more. We have to do this properly. I want this done properly. So if we have to wait 2 weeks, fine. But let's do it right and proper. So he's got a long history with the town, and he deserves that. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Duly noted. One other thing under new business, I'd like to get a presentation and a docket item on the Pine Hill Osmond and some zoning issues but around the power plant, Pine Hills, if you will. That's what I call them. Moving forward, but to be proactive rather than reactive. I think we need to know what our options are as a community, and I think we need to start having a conversation on what should be put in place so when the foot drops, we're ready, rather than trying to catch up. So I think we as a board, without going too far, have been very cooperative, but we also have a responsibility to the people in this community. And that's the road I want to go down. So I really don't know a whole lot about the Osmond. It's been a while. I'm sure John knows quite a bit about it, but
Just the baseline.
okay, right. So I need to know, how that, and my concern is how it rolls on to adjacent properties. That's really where I want to start.
So
And
could I
it's something to do
just
with,
answer that real quickly?
yeah, please.
It's a vote of town meeting.
And I understand that, and if it's a home rule petition, whatever it is.
No, I'm just saying, so if the Pine Hills wanted to expand the Pine Hills development into the Holtec
Right.
property,
Right.
that's a vote of town meeting, a
That-
two-thirds vote of
And
town meeting.
I can appreciate that. I still want to look at the Osmond and see what we have as a community as options to present to town meeting. Now, I don't have an issue with town meeting, but what I'm saying is, maybe the town doesn't want to expand anymore.
Right,
with
and
the
that would
Pine
always
Hills.
be
And
a
town
dis-
meeting, when I say the town.
I can tell you because I work with them all the time, we have made it very clear to the developers of the Pine Hills development community that the town is not interested in looking at any further expansions. I think they're aware of that. And the only way that could ever happen is through a article through town meeting. And at this point, I'm confident to tell you they understand that their role now is to finish up what they've had and move forward with just completing what was granted. And again, to do something else would take a vote at town meeting.
And I understand that totally. That's what I need to know. But I also want to look at the zoning, whether or not Pine Hills has interest in expanding. I want to see what all the options are and put them, so we as a community have to know that and plan for that. And of course, it's going to need town meeting. I don't think I can do it by myself. And I wasn't, simulating that. And maybe Pine Hills doesn't want to expand, and if that has something to do with what I'm asking. What I'm asking, I know there's an Osmond, and I want to know what the town's options are, and I want town meeting to know what their options are. That's all. Because there's other factors in there, without putting everything on the table, that this could affect, and that's really, if you can read between the lines, that's what I'm trying to say. So I just want to be ready in case other big land movements decide to make calls and sell property. That's all. That being said, anything else under new business? Okay. Letters? Old business? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and we'll see you on April 30th. Thank you for watching and have a good week.